Hello, and welcome to another episode of Shampoo and Booze. This is episode number 25 at shampooandbooze.com. This podcast is about us making a living on Airbnb.
It's making part of our living.
Part of our living on a vacation rental on Airbnb.
Absolutely, right. Yes. So we quit our jobs 2008.
Yes.
We started selling on eBay.
Before that even, yeah.
We invested our money from our eBay profits into buying property, and now we're renting the property. So it's definitely not passive income, that's for sure.
No, it is not, and we'll have many stories about that this week.
Yeah, but, I never really stand the people who say that they can kind of set things up and never have to work again. But, if that works for them, that's great. For us, it's more about we like to work.
Yes.
We like to be busy people. The thing is, we like to do our work and not work for somebody else.
Yes, absolutely. We have become professional cleaners, essentially, at the other house. And it always feels funny, but I'm like, but it's my house,
That's right. Does it bother you to clean?
No, not at all.
Okay.
In fact, I feel like we have it down so well that I, turn my brain off.
Yeah.
It's like mechanical.
I don't really see us as professional cleaners. We just happen to choose to clean our own rental houses just because we like to save its money. So
Right.
Okay, so this past week,
Yes.
we have a rental in action.
Right.
And you were busy over the weekend.
Yes.
At a wedding extravaganza to promote our farmhouse to its new brides.
Right. So a friend of mine who is a wedding planner and is an event planner put on kind of this local wedding show type thing. And I wanted to help support her, and I also wanted to be able to promote our business to, people who have friends and family coming to town, whatever. So it was 2 straight days.
And so my support of this event, which I was very skeptical of, was I had to clean the house by myself because we had people coming to stay. And this is the first time we've ever done that before, where one of us had cleaned a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
And it took me, so it takes the two of us, about between 2 and 3 hours to clean the place, depending on how deep we get into it. It took me a good 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I was probably over there for 5 because the first hour I'm just wandering around a little overwhelmed. Oh my God, how am I? And then once I got started, and it's totally doable,
Yeah, it's doable.
I could have cleaned the place in 3 hours it's myself.
If you were like a machine. If you were just do.
Yeah, not it's a machine, but if I just saw it as a job I had doing it, once you start doing something again and again, it gets easier. So, I did it it's myself, but it also helps me appreciate if we ever did start to hire people to clean our houses for us, which could be a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps me appreciate just how much work it is.
Yeah.
I mean, for one person, it's almost like you'd have to make sure that you could hire 2 people to clean
You
it.
really have to have 2 people for that house.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, we like to talk about some people that stay. It's with us, it's gossip, but just to help other people who are out there right now who are either renting on Airbnb or thinking about it.
Right.
These stories are important for us to share it with each other because, we're trading info. Just on how to deal with situations.
Right, how to deal with the situation properly. That's the best thing to say.
For us on Airbnb, we can get a sense of who people are just by how they talk to us,
through the messages.
Right. And so I had this guy, he rented for his family, and he started acting like he's it's needy, and he was felt to me like he was booking a hotel.
Right.
Which is a little different because, for us, when we're dealing with Airbnb, I think there's always a sense of you're renting someone's home, so you're more guest than I'm booking a hotel and I need a concierge and I'm kind of telling you what to do. So I had kind of a weird feeling about them. So they come, they have 2 young kids, and it's very chaotic.
Yeah, it's chaos.
Normally I like to lead people through a tour just so they know where everything is.
Yeah.
So then they don't have to ask me any questions later. But as soon as they came, they all just separated, and they all just go to different parts of the yard and the house.
Yeah.
And it took me a while, so I grabbed the husband, the father. I'm like, okay, let me show you, and you tell everyone else where everything
What's
is.
what, yeah.
And then after I came back down, you know, I come downstairs.
You're in the kitchen, right?
Yep, and I'm and there's smoke. There's like thick smoke coming from the stovetop, and I look, and someone had put the electric it's water.
The kettle. It's an electric kettle that plugs into the wall.
And they put it on the stove, thinking that that's how they heated it up. Like, they just weren't thinking, I guess. It was only on there for, just under 10 seconds long. So I grab it, I throw it outside, I run downstairs, I grab a paint scraper, because we have one of those, it's glass top stoves.
Yeah.
And I take paper towels and a scraper, and the plastic is gooey. So I just start gooping it onto the thing. I mean, this is all happening very quickly.
I mean, basically, you were like, you guys are almost ruining my stove.
Oh.
You know? You're afraid that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, so I do it, I clean it off, and they're just kind of standing there, just like, oh my God, what just happened? And then I'm just like, okay, it's okay. Like,
yeah.
That's the kind of great thing about those. It's glass top stoves that as long as it's not so hot that it burns into the glass, I guess,
right,
you're good to go.
It was pretty quick.
And so what do you do at that point? Do I say, like, you guys are crazy, get out of my house? You know, like,
yeah.
I could have done that, you know?
Yeah, but then you lose it was like a 5-night reservation.
Yeah.
You know?
So basically I said, look, let's all calm down. You buy me a new thing.
A kettle, yeah.
Kettle. You buy it, and he was like, cool, I'll go on Amazon, I'll have it sent here, it's no problem.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, are we okay? Cool. And then I just left.
Well, what was good is your attitude was, and you're always like this anyway, it was a mistake. I'm glad no one was hurt.
Right.
That's all that matters, you know? Right. I'm so glad that you were still there when it happened, because I feel like if you hadn't been there, that we would have had to have replaced the oven.
Right. I mean, so anyway, this story is simply, I kind of had a weird feeling about them, but not like a feeling like they're bad people.
Right.
It's what it is they're just a good example of stressed out young parents who live in the city.
Yep.
You know, is what it is.
Yeah.
They probably live in a very small place.
Yeah.
With no yard.
Right.
And just their jobs are crazy, and they're probably its money is tight, and all that stuff.
And they're stressed, and
that's what we were dealing with. So anyway, it worked out, and we actually got to talk to them more because they stayed for 5, so they stayed all week long.
Yeah.
And we got to talk to them more, and when things were calmer, you know, and them coming here, the reason why people come to our area is because it is a quiet, calm area, and they were much calmer and relaxed.
Well, the reason we actually got to talk to them is because the next morning the toilet stopped working,
right.
Which is just a complete coincidence.
It had nothing to do.
They didn't do anything. It was just like
the thing in the
little like fill valve thing was acting up.
And Ryan's very good about that stuff. We have extra of those in the
I fixed it.
The basement, and we fixed it, and so it was good.
Yeah, but it's just what's interesting is, you know, it's funny to see people like that and just really feel, you know, the chaos like admitting from them. And then we cleaned the house on Friday, like they left. We talked to them, we said bye. We cleaned the house, and then another couple with super young kids, basically like similar ages, came, and they were so relaxed. Like it was just like night and day, you know?
Right.
It's just funny to see the difference between like the way people conduct their lives, you know? Yeah.
But I think a message that we get from that is simply the big thing is its reaction to things like that.
Yeah.
Like I could have easily been kind of swept up in the chaos and become angry or being chaotic it's myself and just cause the whole thing. But I think it's good just to be calm. Like, I mean, if I felt like there was danger or these people were actually mentally ill or something, you know, like that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, like accidents happen.
Right.
Fix it.
It's just a pure mistake.
On, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they did buy us.
They bought us a new kettle. They were super nice about it. They apologized. We were like, it's no big deal. So it was fine. It's just, one of those situations where you're like, I'm really glad you were there to deal with it, you know?
So, for those of you who don't know, we bought a second property. It's this year, back in October. So we've had it now for 6 months.
Something like that, yeah.
Which people are probably, that's crazy. It's not rented yet. Well, we're actually taking our time to renovate this thing. Its metal roof finally is completely done.
Look, this was great this week because we're leaving for a trip next week, and you said to the roofer, you basically said if you want to get paid for the final payment, I mean, we're gone next week. So it was great. He called us. Mm-hmm. We went to the house. It was a beautiful sunny day. We looked at the roof. It's totally done. It's gorgeous.
So what was the total cost of that?
The total cost was
$14,000.
$14,000.
Okay, so we spent $14,000 for a new metal roof.
Now, the thing is about a metal roof is it lasts a lot longer than an asphalt
it's going
to
last, without us even touching it, for its 50 years.
Minimum, I mean, plus.
And then a metal roof can last for a lifetime as long as people maintain it and, eventually paint it. But anyway, the roof we have, we won't have to touch for its lifetime. If we did asphalt shingles, because that's what had been on there,
right,
and they were in really bad shape. So in 50 years, they would have to be replaced probably 3 times.
2 to 3 times,
in 50 years. I'd say 2 times if you just let them really go, but 3 times if you want them to make sure they're okay. And how much you think? I think it'd be about $6,000 each time for labor and maybe 5.
Honestly, I think that the price we paid
is about what it would take to keep asphalt shingles on it again and again and again. In our opinion, so that's a good example of like upfront cost, upfront investment for ease afterwards. The other thing was our roofer said that it's fixing all the rot on the edges and doing all its detail work.
Right.
Like he had to actually build like the special thing around the chimney.
Right.
And like there were some edges that had to get fixed. He fixed some eaves or some, what do you call them? Like
soffit, fascia, all that stuff.
He says all of that took just as long as actually just putting its roof on itself.
And the reason that those things are in bad shape is because the people before us let the roof go 10 to 15 extra years that it shouldn't have been, it should have been replaced.
A lot of drips and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and, the great thing, too, is he's a local guy. He said if we ever had a problem, he would come back.
Yeah,
believe him.
I had a question about it after he left. I was like, I don't understand this aspect of it. And I actually just shot him an email, and he explained it the next day through email. I was like, great. That was so easy, So I feel like we're starting off on the right foot. Good roof, good chimney now. Yeah.
So everything is on hold while we're gone for a month. We're going to the West Coast to do some work, actually. So we're going to make some money and then come back and then really try and push through. Right.
So the summer to fall is the perfect time to be doing renovations because the weather is great.
Yeah. And so actually tomorrow in the morning we have the carpenter, the guy that it's worked with on 2 other projects, is coming over.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a pen and paper out and we're going to start writing down
what's the process?
How we're going to do what we're going to do. Add a bedroom, add a bathroom.
Right. Fix the big A-frame windows. That's like a whole insane thing.
And we love this guy because, we have all these ideas of what we want, and we throw it at him, and then he tells us what's possible, what's doable, and if there's better ways to do things, and he's good at that.
Yeah. We've been waiting for him to come over. He's been busy on another job, so we're like, please come over. So the funny thing is, since we are traveling for a job, we're actually going to be renting Airbnbs while we're traveling. So actually, we're going to be renting 3 different Airbnbs.
Right, in Bellingham, Washington.
Bend, Oregon, and then we're going to do 3 nights in New Orleans before our other job.
Before we owned a place to rent, this is what we did, is that we would stay at places in...
Well, that's how we learned how we wanted to run things, essentially, was staying places and liking what certain people did, not liking what other people did and seeing what was missing, and that's how we were able to figure out what was needed at the other house.
So it's going to be interesting to actually stay in other people's places.
Yeah, we're going to be very look. Even before we were, our own landlords, we were critical.
But real quick, we never leave anyone bad.
No.
I mean, we've never stayed in a place so bad that where we've had to leave people bad comments. But we definitely do in the private area.
Yeah.
Give people we really wish there was salt. We really wish
there was a bedside table.
So we give people little tips.
Yeah, we're never unkind.
Just some other kind of random things. This past week, we had some people comment on the blog, which was good.
Yes.
And it was mainly from people that live in urban areas who are renting apartments to, because we've talked about that before. I feel like there's always going to be a thread between those of us that rent in more of a rural area versus people that are in urban areas. And that a mix is, the people often in these urban areas just get fully booked up as soon as they put
all
up,
the time,
and they're probably denying people, and they can pick and choose. And those of us in a rural area, we're more hungry and trying to go after people. And I don't know if we've ever turned anyone down.
I think the only time we've ever discouraged someone is when they're like, I have 10 people, and we're like, that's too many, or I want to have my wedding there. We're like, no.
How about this? We've never turned someone down that fits our current,
no, not at all,
right? Which is probably it's different. So it's an interesting conversation to have on the blog about those two different things. And often it seems like the people in urban areas or the one guy we were talking to, he doesn't even own the places he rents. He rents
to rent,
and then he rents something he rents. So
now in a city that makes more sense in a way, but we've heard people in the country here where we live doing that, and we're like, that's crazy. But actually it might make sense because it's cheaper to rent a whole house here. I guess. If
those numbers work. So we really do, it's like it when people come on the blog and kind of talk about that, because it's interesting to think about those different kind of models of what works.
Right. We just have different experiences in different places.
And we haven't really heard of as many people, and I wonder how common it is, of people that have, a room in their home or a back.
Right. Like a shared space rather than an entire space.
Because, that's what Airbnb was actually, I guess, built for at first was...
Yeah.
If you have a house, there's an extra bedroom, why not rent that bedroom out? I don't hear of that happening very often,
I know there are a lot of shared spaces like that, especially in urban areas, especially New York. You see it all the time. But yeah, I don't know. I would love to hear from people who are sharing their house. The thing that we've seen more often, the place in Bellingham that we're staying, is they have a whole downstairs apartment, the basement apartment. So it's not it's just a guest room. It's it has its own separate entrance. You have your own kitchen. It's like a duplex almost. I've heard, we've interviewed people doing that.
Yeah.
But which is, I think, for a homeowner, an adult homeowner, that's more of an ideal situation, because you're we have our life, you have your life. It's not somebody's walking in and out, your house is a hostel, a youth hostel, basically.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers. We had a really good week.
For bookings, yes.
So we live in a place where people come for the summertime and the fall. And so we're right on the cusp, and this is just what we had hoped for. The bookings are coming. So we had 19 nights that we booked.
Yay!
It's this past week for its future. And those are only 4 people booked. It's for a separate... and 2 of those were for full weeks.
One was a week in August that was last night. We got this message, and we were like, oh no, it was this morning. It was 7 days in August. We were like, yes. So it was actually 2 weeks in August from 2 different people, which is awesome. And then we had I think it's 3 or 4 nights this week coming up, which is great because it's like weekdays coming up. Like we thought they would be empty. And then we booked 2 nights a weekend in June for like a bachelor get together.
Right, yeah. So I mean, and the great thing about booking the whole, entire weeks is, I'd even said that at last podcast. I was like, I can't wait for people to do that, because that seems what happens is people about this time, it's mid-April, school's going to be out.
They're thinking
a month
about
and
vacation.
a half, and they're thinking about its vacation, and they're like, okay, where are we going to go on its vacation? Boom, let's do it. And the great thing for us is that, that's about $1,400.
Great.
And that's really nice. They take up it's weeknights.
That 1 week is $1,400, not everything we just named. It's 1 week for $1,400. So and it's great because you check them in, and then a week later you come back and clean. Like it's not every other, every 2 nights, which is fine. Like we'll do that too, but having a week is great.
So out of, the way we're doing this, so in 2016, there are 365 nights.
Yes.
So we have booked now, either in the past or for the future, 147 nights.
Yay.
So our goal is to get to 200 for the year of 2016.
Right.
And we're on our way.
200 or more.
Or more.
Of course we want more. But
now, April... we're halfway through, so people have either booked. There's still a couple of days left that people could book, but we've booked 19 its nights in April,
which is awesome,
and then that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd like to book 20 its nights a month,
right?
So we're just about there, and that's pretty good for it still being fairly early in the season.
Yeah.
It's still cool here at night. It's not, perfect for hiking just yet.
But the weather during the day has been gorgeous. So the people who are staying are super excited.
So our total payout for April on Airbnb will be, it's $4,100.
It's amazing.
And you know what? And that's good because we've been raising our prices, and that's really been helping.
Yes, it does help. And I think with raising prices too, we've been trying to not raise them too much each time. We're just kind of like incrementally raising it, and it's been okay so far. So we're hoping.
Because it's for us what we're trying to do is trying to get the price we think it's worth.
Right. Exactly. Not too little, but not too much.
And so far, people are booking and are super happy.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to hear.
Right. Exactly. So what did renters leave behind? Nothing.
Yeah, it's this week that all of our renters took everything with them.
Well, they live locally. I mean, they lived, in the next city over. But what they did leave us was a melted kettle.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. We always love when people leave, like, food or shampoo or alcohol.
Or beer for me.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was like, I didn't care. That's fine.
So there are no calls. It's this week, but if you would like to call and leave either a question or a comment or, talk about something we've talked about,
you can call our voicemail line, and the phone number is 540-407-8486.
And if you can check out our blog at shampooandbooze.com for any links we talked about, and you can join the conversation there.
We post an episode every Sunday night or Monday morning. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or through YouTube, and you'll always get the latest episode. And if you're interested, you can listen to our other podcast where we talk about how we sell stuff that we scavenge on eBay and Amazon to fund these renovations, and that's at scavengerlife.com.
Okay, see you.
Bye.